say hello to Mr. and Mrs. Pickles. So he is 90 years old, which is really middle-aged for a tortoise. And the couple's been together at the Houston Zoo since 1996, and now they are the proud parents to three tiny tortoises, Dill, Gherkin, and Jalapeno. And this is a big deal because radiated tortoises are critically endangered. So congratulations to the expanding tortoise family there. Every good wish.
Props to still be able to procreate when you're 90. See, I'm biologically, I think that's a fascinating story.
It's an impressive feat.
A little jealous. Oh, man. Welcome.
Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles is...
He's the man.
Still doing his thing. All right. Let's begin, as we like to do now, with the stories from the very top of our feed. And we start today with one of those things that make you think, oh, okay, sure, you could do that, but why?
Right. Engineers at Columbia University decided to use a 3D printing machine and laser technology to whip up a 7-ingredient vegan cheesecake. This is it. Researchers say the experiment was a step toward making it practical to use 3D printing and mechanically assembled food. And one of the co-authors of the study says that food made by a 3D machine is a lot like the food we cook in our microwave. Rob Nelson, would you eat that if someone dared you to?
You said vegan, right?
Yeah.
See, I find vegan the more problematic word than printer. And I need all the real stuff. I know it's healthier, I get it, but if you're gonna have cheesecake, you want cheese. You want the bad stuff, right?
Yeah, you want the dairy in there. Yeah.
Oh man, but the 3D printing thing's amazing. Rockets and cheesecake, everything can be printed now. I don't understand the technology, but no.
Well, and speaking of rockets, we've got a good story for you. Let's talk about this. This is pretty remarkable. So we're going to show you a 3D printer made rocket. Look at this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we've been following the adventures of the Good Luck Have Fun, the 110-foot rocket. Yeah, as we just were alluding to, made with a 3D printer. Again, no idea how that's possible, but it is. Its first few launch attempts have been scrubbed at the very last minute, so now the next launch window opens tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern. Good luck. We'll be rooting for you again.
Wow.
And yeah, take some cheesecake up with you.
Maybe some cheesecake made by a 3D printer will be on the rocket made by a 3D printer. So. I don't know. Technology is fascinating, and keep exploring outer space for us.
Yes. All right, more science now. Keep your feet on the ground and reach for the stars. We know that saying. The sign-off for Star Search, the huge hit decades ago. Oh, Ed McMahon, rest in peace. Okay, it also could be applied to a new program for NASA, bringing the idea of working for the space agency down to Earth for high school. That's
right. Nadine Abusada is in Cleveland, Ohio, where it's taken off and sending imaginations into orbit.
At NASA, they're used to launches. But this time, their mission is focused on the next generation.
If we want this work we're doing to continue, we have to bring in young, enthusiastic, energetic people to learn.
We are always happy to have our students have real-world, tangible experience.
It feels like an opportunity I wouldn't normally get, so I'm very happy that I'm able to have it.
It feels like really pretty cool. It feels privileged.
They got hands-on experience.
We did it! We did it!
And heard from researchers.
How many of you would like to be an astronaut on the next rocket?
Scientists and engineers.
Absolutely. Certainly mechanical engineering and civil engineering. We have a simulated Mars and moon surface environment so they can see where we test and develop different rover tires.
The goal isn't just to show off the incredible things NASA does.
In Cuyahoga County alone, we have 52,000 jobs open as of this morning. A third of those jobs are in STEM.
But to give students an idea.
It would seem like a cool job to say you work for NASA.
I don't know what I want to be, but I do know I want to become a future engineer.
About the opportunities STEM has to offer.
What's preventing it is most kids don't see themselves in STEM occupations.
These people aren't smarter than you. They're not better than you. Like, you're looking at people who are using years of learned education, learned experience. So all the things they're seeing, all the things people are doing, they can do these things.
Wow.
Great opportunity
absolutely.
for those students.
And you heard that what I liked in that piece is that you heard the guy put it in practical terms. It's not just, okay, hey, come build a rocket or learn this part of science or that part. He said 50,000+ jobs open in that county, and a lot of them in that particular field. So sometimes, we need to do a better job of connecting these skills we all learned in school with what it could lead to professionally. And if you're good in science right now, the way the whole world's run by iPhones and computers, not only is there a job for you, it's probably a good paying job.
There you go.
So I love that it's just a very forward-thinking mindset all the way around.
Yes, it is. If these students can get off to an early start, hats off to them. I mean, if they really discover something that they're passionate about and want to learn more about, I mean, what a great thing this affords kids nowadays. I mean, I sound like I'm dating myself, but, this is something we've seen in recent years becoming more and more popular and entering more school systems with every year. So if these kids have a chance to start that learning and that career path early on, what a better place to do it, than with other like-minded folks and with programs like that one we see going on in Cleveland.
Absolutely, and if you find that spark young, whatever it is you love, sports, science, writing, whatever your thing is, you're more likely to kind of, stay on that path and make something of it, which is beautiful. So love that story. All right, with that, it is time to get your popcorn ready, one of our favorite parts of the show, as we bring you a few quick stories that are, just fun to know, a little brain candy, why not? And we're going to keep with our space theme by celebrating the birthday of an iconic actor and, of course, his most famous character.
Yeah, happy birthday, William Shatner. He turns 92 years old today, and it's fun to know that Star Trek's creators made March 22nd the birthday for Captain Kirk as well on the show. Also, a fun little fact to know, Shatner's character was not included in the pilot episode for the legendary show. He obviously came later and became incredibly memorable.
I mean, he was kind of the face of the show, but that wasn't originally in there. That's kind of crazy.
Not in the pilot, I know, right?
I'm going to say something controversial. I know the Trekkies out there will not agree. One, I can't believe he's 92. It looks great. But two, my favorite William Shatner role, if you ever saw the show, was Denny Crane on the show Boston Legal. You're a lawyer. Did you ever watch that show?
No, I've heard it's really cute.
With him and James Spader. He was so great in that show. Funny and dark and out of his mind. It was fantastic. So I know Captain Kirk is on the Mount Rushmore of characters, but don't forget about Denny Crane on Boston Legal. Sorry. Just adding that out there.
That's good stuff.
Oh, great show. Well, Star Trek almost, get this, never got out of space dock. It was funded by Desilu Productions. Of course, that's the company co-owned by Desi Arnaz and the one and only Lucille Ball, his wife. Well, Ball was almost going to axe the show because the company had bitten off a little more than it could chew, but she was convinced it could be a hit, and that is why the show survived and, of course, became a cultural phenomenon lasting up until this day.
Oh, my gosh. Who knew Lucy and Desi were behind Star Trek?
Never knew that either. Never knew that either, right? See?
Oh my gosh. It's why we do this segment.
One of the first real power couples in Hollywood, on and off screen, Lucy and Desi.
Super talented they were. And there's more about Star Trek. Just getting it to the top of the ratings was far from warp speed. NBC was actually considering pulling the plug on the show until more than 1 million pieces of mail poured into 30 Rock. And ironically, one of them came from Governor Nelson Rockefeller himself. Wow, so I guess we have the governor to thank for helping to keep it on. Oh, my goodness.
See?
Apparently he's a Trekkie, too.
All Nelsons making the right call. I like that. Well done. But that's very true. We don't have the same patience with shows we used to give a show time to find an audience. When they first started out, Cheers didn't have a crowd, Seinfeld didn't have good numbers, and then they, of course, blew up into epic shows. So put Star Trek in that category, too. It takes time. Like here on Focus. Takes some time. We'll get there.
Exactly.
All right, well, don't go anywhere. More inspiring stories coming up after the break, including the story of one man facing his fears, all for his friend.
It was intimidating, just like cancer could be intimidating for Miko, and just like a lot of other challenges that people go through can be very intimidating for them as well.
Welcome back, and check out this vibrant super bloom of Mexican poppies. This is along a highway near Phoenix, Arizona, and super blooms follow periods of heavy rain. Looking very pretty. Welcome back.
Whole different vegetation and landscape scene out west. Out west. Yeah, it's pretty though. Different, unique.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, climbing to the top of a mountain peak is a huge accomplishment, of course, but imagine doing it 30 times in a row.
Yes, that is what one man did to help out a friend who's facing a much bigger challenge. Jordan Bonke brings us the story from Phoenix.
Reaching the summit of Piestewa Peak isn't necessarily easy. Over 2 miles to the summit, that's over 2,600 feet in elevation.
What kind of physical challenge can I do that would be scary?
Recently, GJ Castillo made the hike 30 times in a row. He started at 7:30 in the morning on a Thursday.
First trip, 29 trips to go.
And finished 9:30 at night on a Saturday.
30 trips.
Just once during those 3 days,
I am getting really slow.
did exhaustion reach a point for him to take a 2-hour nap, and it was back up the mountain.
You know, everything hurts, you know.
What kept his legs moving for those 3 days sat partially at the base of the mountain. Miko was his motivation.
I was afraid for him because this mountain is tough.
Miko Vasquez is a husband and father of 2 and one of GJ's co-workers. These days, Miko sometimes has to repeat himself when talking with others.
So every time he came down from the mountain, I was here.
As he's been battling tongue cancer, some of the skin from his arm used to repair his tongue. GJ says Miko's mountain is a walk in the park compared to what he's doing.
So I wanted to pick Piestewa Peak. I wanted to pick 30 because it was intimidating, just like cancer could be intimidating for Miko, and just like a lot of other challenges that people go through can be very intimidating for them as well. So you can't go as fast.
In the over 70 miles he hiked in those 3 days, GJ shared these videos on social media and told anyone he passed about the man motivating him to keep going. Because both GJ and Miko know doing something hard or scary is worth doing.
If I can help one person to keep fighting, that's a blessing.
Oof. You talk about a real friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have one, man. That's incredible. 70 miles in 3 days, and yeah, but it came with perspective. Like, yeah, it's tough, but
Right.
what this guy at the base of the mountain is doing is even tough.
Right. That's what really struck me, is how he said he wanted it to be scary. He wanted it to be intimidating, so that it would kind of, in a way, simulate, you know, the fear and the anxiety that his friend is probably experiencing every single day that he wakes up in the morning and he's battling that illness. And so also, you know, what a way to you know, draw attention to it as well, and to help others, you know, rally around, you know, this man in his battle, and give him some extra support too. So people are probably hearing about the mountain climbing and thinking, oh boy, you know, what can I do maybe for a friend I've got who might be going through something similar with cancer, huh?
May we all be lucky enough to find a friend like he has. Well, let's stick around. We've got, coming up next, an inspiring story ahead about a school giving refugee students and teachers a place to thrive.
Thanks so much for staying with us. So we've seen schools get creative to help solve the teacher shortage crisis, but the effort you're about to see is solving multiple problems at once.
Indeed. Alexa Liaco found it's not only getting teachers into classrooms, it's also helping refugees in America restart their lives.
It's very beautiful. You like this color, Layla?
Being in a classroom reminds Sadia Alani of home.
So, I am from Iraq.
There, Alani studied to be a teacher.
After I graduated in my country, and I have a lot of dreams.
But political unrest forced Alani, her husband, a translator for the U.S. Army, and their 3 kids to flee.
I have a lot of memories. We left everything, like our family, our everything.
They waited to come to the U.S. for 6 years as refugees in Lebanon. When they finally made it to the States, Alani's teaching dreams were delayed again.
I start working like as bakery until I develop my language. And then I ask if I can work with my degrees, and the people will say, oh, that's impossible because your degrees are from, not here.
But she found a place that recognized her hard work and education.
I like to be a construction worker when I grow
I want
up.
to be like a mechanical.
The International Community School, just outside of Atlanta, is a school for both American and international children. Here, refugee students are welcomed, and so are their parents. The Refugee Women's Network partnered with the school to train refugee women to get their teaching credentials.
This was such a godsend.
Sushma Barakoti is the executive director of the nonprofit. She says refugee women want to help their families, but are often not given a chance.
So most of the time, women always have the back seat because it's so important for somebody in the family to get a job, and that's men in the family most of the time.
But with help from the school's leader, Fran Carroll, these women's education is being put to use, helping both the women and the school.
How are we going to solve this teacher shortage that we're facing, as well as bring some diversity into our school? This is another demographic that can solve and help solution that problem.
While these refugee women take classes to earn their teaching certification, they help teach and interact with students and families, both American and international.
Representation matters. So it's important that our students see figures in the classroom that they can relate to, who speaks their language, who shares their same customs. Our American children are able to learn about different cultures and customs, and that information is shared in an organic manner.
And as the national teacher shortage only worsens, the team here hopes to be an example of how to educate and build community all at once.
We can approach education differently. And so it's going to take innovation to really just flip this whole industry upside down. And this is something that can definitely be replicated.
And a program that, if replicated, means so much more than a job.
So I have a future, I have a goal, and I'm working to my goal.
Aw, that's a good goal to have, you know, and this is great for these children too, you know, to be exposed to other cultures, other customs. It's like a bonus that they're getting in the classroom. It's a win-win really for everybody, for these, you know, teachers who are coming in and then giving, you know, this knowledge, this extra knowledge and extra information to the students that they have. So I think, you know, it really goes both ways. Everybody can really gain something from a situation like that.
That school is scratching a lot of itches, as I would say. You know what I mean? Like it's the idea of diversity in the classroom, which is important, and then two, the idea of, which he made such a good point about, in a lot of cultures, women are forced into the back seat as kind of second-class citizens, and here you're giving them the tools to have a career, you know, and a job, and you're helping out refugees who, despite all of the debate going on, you know, by and large, they come to this country for a better life, and that school is helping them achieve that. So from almost every angle, there's a lot of beautiful things happening on that campus for the kids and the adults and the country, for that matter. So really inspiring, great concept.
All the way around, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, don't go far. Coming up next, get the scoop behind this thrill-seeking hamster. Because when you think about thrilling, you think about hamsters, and we're going to show you why coming up after the break.
Oh, thanks for staying with us. Look at this hamster getting the roller coaster experience thanks to his owner's creative thinking.
That actually is really good. that is visually.
You like it, huh, Rob?
Yeah, well done.
And it's a laptop there, so he's sitting on the keyboard above the mouse pad. Looks like a MacBook, I believe. And
I wonder in the hamster's mind, does he really feel like, does he feel like a human would feel like when you do the augmented reality thing with the goggles?
Sure.
Is that how he feels?
Right, does he know what he's seeing? Like, is his vision that good?
I want to know.
Hamsters, they're so cute. Like, their eyes are kind of far, but is he seeing straight ahead, or is he just focused on the running? I kind of think he's just trying to run as fast as he can. Adorable.
What did we do with our lives before we could share videos on the internet? What did we do?
Before TikTok, I know.
When did we laugh? Yeah. Oh, man. Unreal.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're going to bring you more hamster videos tomorrow. You can count on that. Just kidding. We might bring you one. But we're definitely going to bring you the story of a man who's giving some new life to a plane that was once owned by the king of rock and roll.
Never in a million years did I ever think that this is actually what I would get to do for a living, is this, go find really super cool airplanes and try to give them a new life.
I love his shirt too. Says, what could possibly go wrong?
Yes. Well done, sir.
Don't fly the plane, buddy.
Yeah.
Don't fly it. Leave it on the
He's a
ground.
character. That's going to be a good story. So be sure to come back tomorrow to check him out. But as for today, that's going to do it for us. But as always, we do want to hear from you.
We'll look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. Same time, same couch.